Question for Richard. What has been your favorite scene on the show that you were not in? I know that you like the scenes that you're in, because those are fun.
Well, all the scenes where Adama gets to make love to Rosalind. I'd like to make love to anyone on the show. You know, this is one of those shows where there's just incredible creatures from heaven. I don't know where else they came from, but my God. Wonderful actors and wonderful people. I have some cool trailers to play. I don't know if you'd be interested in seeing them. I want to play that from the Watchtower, Along the Watchtower, which is a sequence that Bear McCreary did. And then Bear just gave me a little DVD, which is this funny, very hilarious comedy bit between him and James Callis, which I think will crack you up. And then I can either play this 30th anniversary trailer we put together that kind of follows the original show and the new show and has interviews from everybody talking about what this experience has been like, what Battlestar means to them. I can play that, and I also have a comedy reel from Battlestar, which I'm sure everybody would love to see. So I don't know how many minutes we've got, but we'll play a few things that I think you'll really, really enjoy. Is there somebody, just before we start with that, is dying to ask me something? And you know, I would only say this to you, and I always say it whenever I'm up on stage, which is, I don't care what the question is. I don't care how out of the box, how irreverent, it doesn't matter to me. If you have the courage to ask it, I will answer it, okay? So, anybody have something they're dying to ask me? Yes, go ahead.
So you originally played Apollo in the original series.
Right.
And then you now play Zarek. I was wondering, what was your reaction when they asked you to join this show, and what's it like being on this show? Is it nostalgic? Is it completely different?
You know, first of all, it's been 30 years since I was on Battlestar. Battlestar really lasted for basically 1 year. So, you know, in between time, I played just so many different characters. And, you know, 30 years later to come back and walk on the set. Ron Moore took me on the set, showed me around. And I really kept thinking, you know, if they brought it back and Sci-Fi Channel was doing it, I thought this was going to be a cheesy, kind of low-budget, you know, rendition of it. Which, you know, was to be expected. And I was surprised as I walked around, looked at the sets, I said, my God. You know, somebody put some money down here. This is amazing. Huge, wonderful sets, and we got lost too. By the way, it's, you know, we got lost behind the landing bay. Me and Ron were trying to pounding on sets, you know, walls. Help! Let us out! You know, and but anyway, it was extraordinary walking on. And I tell this story. I met Katie Sackhoff, you know, at a convention about a couple weeks before I came on the set of Battlestar, and fortunately, you know, we kind of hit it off, had a great conversation, and I had met her at the airport, not knowing it was her, because I was late. I was in line to get my stuff checked through the X-ray, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss the flight, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking over there in the line thinking, how can I sneak in? And some woman, I didn't know who she was, looks over with this kind face and looks at me, picks up on what I'm thinking about, and waves me over. And I came over and got in line and saved the day. I got on the plane, made the flight. And then as we got off the flight and we're going out to be picked up for the convention, it was Katie Sackhoff, you know. And so, you know, I couldn't believe that she had done that, because usually people, you know, when they're trying to get through the lines, they become terrorists, you know. They got a place to go, they don't care who's in their way. But she was so kind, so sweet, and she's the one, when I walked in, there was kind of a palpable tension walking in, because I had kind of been the provocateur, not against this show or Ron Moore, but towards the studio for not really seriously considering a continuation, which at that time the vast majority of fans wanted to see. And we put a lot of time and energy into doing that. We couldn't understand why nobody was listening. So I had written a lot of scathing articles about networks and about studios and how they don't listen to the fans, how they don't ever seem to pay attention to what most of us really want to see. And that goes well beyond Battlestar Galactica. I mean, for some reason, the people that seem to be in positions of power seem to have the least understanding of the people that they're supposed to serve. They don't understand sci-fi, they don't understand fantasy, they don't understand all these areas that we love. In fact, I hate to say it, sometimes I think there's something wrong with us that we actually enjoy, you know, and I wish I could put them in a room and really confront them and face them, because for me, you know, science fiction fantasy, visionary, well-written, is some of the best literature on the face of the planet, written by some of the most intelligent, visionary human beings on the face of the planet. So anyway, it was quite an experience for me, you know, back then. But walking on the set, she introduced me to everybody, and you know, within seconds, well, I would say seconds after, I'm looking at Edward almost staring at me with his plate of food, just giving me that, you know, that Adama look, right? Like, I'm gonna kill you, you little fracker, you know. And I slowly got introduced to each person, and slowly after the table read, which was terrifying, because here I am, you know, the other guy from the other show. And, you know, you want to be good, and it's a table read, and everybody's loose and comfortable and having fun, and you're the stranger. But after we finished, everybody, Jamie walked over and shook my hand, and Grace Parks, who I was trying to steal looks at, because she, you know, my God, she was so hot. But she came over as well, and by the end of the whole thing, everybody was saying hello and warmly welcoming me. So I was very thankful, you know, that Katie was able to build that bridge for me. But it was a very, for me, playing such an extraordinarily complex, enigmatic, really interesting character. 30 years later on the same show that I love, and I love this story. I love the Battlestar story. I think it's one of the most incredible, life-changing, moving, you know, inspirational, inspiring shows ever written. But it never got a chance because of the studios and networks to really go into the core story and explore what that was all about. And I was frustrated 30 years ago with the writing. I love the backstory, love the mythology, love the characters, but I was frustrated with the writing. And here we were 30 years later, and having not only an extraordinary cast of actors, but incredible writers and a studio that seemed to support this show going into these provocative, edgy areas, which is what the show's about. So I kind of got to have full circle. I got to come back, be in the story that I love, finally getting to do, you know, some of the scenes and material that I was dying to do 30 years earlier. And it's not about fame, it's not about money. Actors, foremost, you know, honestly, they would do something they love for nothing. You know, it's not about having their face up on the E! Channel or, you know, on the celebrity news. Honestly, most actors care about the work and making a difference and having an impact. Which, by the way, not too many actors get the chance to face the people that watch and appreciate what they do, and you have no idea how much it means to them. I was watching Evan almost last night, walking around the lobby of the hotel, you know, and this is his first trip here. I think he was blown away by just the mass of people and just the massive, warm, welcoming support, you know, for him, for the show. And there was just such a glow of, you know, a smile on his face walking around. You can't help but feel it when people walk up, look you in the eyes, and tell you thank you, you know. And it was such a pleasure to watch the joy on his face, because he certainly has given a lot of joy to a lot of people over the past 30 years, 40 years, so, yeah. We have the first trailer lined up there all along the Watchtower. Do you have that? Do you guys have the trailers that were over there? Gene, you do? Okay. All right, we're going to play this first one. It's not very long, but it's really, really cool. Bear McCreary put together a whole bunch of trailers that really highlight the music behind Battlestar. But this really shows you some of the powerful excerpts from the show and this particular song that the gentleman was talking about. So let's play that first trailer.